What's up? I'm Troubleshoot. Things seem a bit weird this week. SDMM has been down, so I've delayed this video in hopes that it would come back, but it hasn't. So this will be a slightly different weekly skin video, but let's get into it regardless. This week's Rust skins appear as follows. There are 11 brand new skins, and some of them are a little bit goofier than others, but starting off at the very top with the $2 skins, we've got the Big Toe Boots, Cryo Furnace, Dominus Mortis AR. Then for $1, the Island Assault Roadsign gloves and steel bandana, Boonie hat, and Poncho set. Then for $2.50, we've got the Isoparam L96 bone box, small box, and for $3, the No Mercy sheet metal double door and Nuke vibe garage door. Let's have a look at all of these in game, and then we'll speculate about price. So we'll start off with the steel primitive set, all for $1. This Poncho, Boonie hat, and of course the bandana. This is a super simple idea. It's just a bunch of corrugated metal that's stuck all over you. Obviously this would be the least comfortable thing to wear in person, but the idea came together relatively well. It's one of the more unique skins we see, and it is just a primitive skin, so that's really gonna lock down where exactly it can be used. Why anyone would wear this is besides me, but anyways, this is now an item in rotation for this week. Then zooming into the Island Assault team gloves, these look really clean for what they are. And of course, as they are Roadsign gloves, they'll give you some good protection. They don't look very Roadsign-y or protection-y, they just look like regular gloves, but they are in fact armored. They're very pretty for what they are. Super simplistic, very realistic design, and I'm a big fan of this. Reminds me a lot of the kind of glove skins that would get in Counter-Strike. Then, looking a bit further down, we've got these absolute monstrosities. The Big Toe Boots obviously only work well with half of the population, but when you're wearing clothes that may not be that obvious as to them not fitting in. I can't give you the full vibe of how they look. If you have a lighter skinned Rust character, these would obviously blend in relatively well. As for what they are, they're just goofy comedic type skins. If you're looking for boot skins that aren't pink and fluffy or anything like that, these are one of the more, let's call it special ones. I can see a certain number of YouTubers like Z-Chum and them using this sort of thing. Besides that relatively niche market, if you just want to be a massive goofball, these are definitely going to be on your purchase list. And of course, the toenail is very shiny. Fantastic. Moving on from here to weapons. This week we've got the Dominus Mortis AR, a brand new AK skin. That looks incredibly clean. I love how this thing looks. The skull, the details, the gold, everything comes together really well. This is one of the better looking Rust skins in my opinion, especially when it comes to AKs, and it is a short variant as well, missing the stock at the back. I know a lot of people who would like this sort of skin. It's definitely not glow in the dark or anything like that. It's a clean, dark gray looking AK skin that fits really well with the gloves. And of course, checking from the first person as to what it looks like, the scope isn't anything special, and looking at it on the side, yeah, it's just as clean. The skull is a really nice touch. There's a bunch of metal around the front, as you can see there. This thing looks fantastic, and something a lot of people have been asking for is what it looks like at night, so let's flick over to nighttime, and this is what it looks like. Super dark. Zooming in, this is what the scope looks like. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, not bad at all. Then, the Isoparam L96 is this very shiny, multicolored, yellow to pink gradient L96 that I really like the looks of. If we flick over to the third person here, you can see just how clean this gun is. Obviously, there's nothing too camouflage about it. This is just more of a flashy skin, and I really do like the detailed 3D effect that we have going on the main gun's stock and body. This is something I really am a fan of, but of course it's not winning any stealth awards. If we have a look in the first person, obviously the iron sight, you're not going to be using an L9 iron sight anyways, and using a 4X it'd look pretty much exactly the same as you'd expect. But the rest of it does look really clean. And of course, let's flick over to nighttime, where you can see exactly how this thing looks, and it disappears really quickly. There's nothing too crazy and obvious about it, and of course, scoping in, you can see sort of what's going on. There is a line pointing towards the center of your screen, but obviously using something without a proper scope isn't usually the best idea. Then moving on from here straight into buildables, we've got this week the Bone Box, which is yet another transparent / see-through small box, or crate, I guess, as it's missing the top. Obviously very similar to the bamboo type skins that we've had going on for quite a while. It's clean, it looks nice, and of course it could have the usual tactical advantage. Plop this down at a peak, you can see out, others can sort of see in, but of course you can't shoot through it as it is a solid object. It's nice for what it is, but is it different enough to warrant buying it? Let me know down below. Then right next to this, continuing the cryo item skins that we've seen as of recent, we've got the Cryo Furnace. Besides looking like it came out of that one SpongeBob episode where everything was chrome, but we'll flick over to nighttime in just a second so you can see what it looks like there. So there it is from all sides, and of course from the top it's more of what you'd expect. But let's turn this thing on. Placing some wood in, firing it up, you can see that a lot of this glows, and of course at nighttime it's even shinier than you first expected. There's a lot of white light on this. Obviously it doesn't emit light onto the environment, but it does definitely look a bit, I would say, Fortnite-y mayhaps. With all of the lighting and lighting between the cracks, it's a clean looking skin with a very bright white fire at the front. I like how it looks, but again, I'm not a huge fan of the Cryo series. Moving on from this, we've got 2 doors left. The first one is this No Mercy double door. Of course, if you're collecting the No Mercy skin, this is pretty much a no-brainer. It's a really clean, white, smooth-looking double door skin on both sides with nothing too crazy that it puts it apart from other doors, other than being a part of the No Mercy skin. Obviously, a lot of the other skins are pretty pricey in this set, but we'll zoom into what we'll think of where this is going in just a moment. Then from here, moving on, we've got a garage door this week. The Nuke Vibe garage door for $3 really takes me back with the art style. I know a lot of games used to have this kind of theme to it. Anyways, besides that, it's a pretty cool looking garage door themed around a hazmat gone rogue sort of thing. Pretty unique. But let's flick over to nighttime and have a look at what these skins look like at night. There is no emission or glowing on the No Mercy door, but on this garage door there is. It's very easy to see what the skin is on the roll up at the back, and of course at the front equally as bright. At least it's not a flat solid brightness across the entire thing. It's only certain areas of it. It's rather tasteful, but a very bright door nonetheless. And of course for the building items, it's only the furnace while lit that emits light at night as well. But yeah, with that, we've really seen all of the skins for this week, so let's tab into, I would say SCMM, but I guess we'll do SCMM with a bit more digging, that is, this week, as things haven't updated, to speculate about market price of these items, where they'll go in the future, etc, etc. Obviously, as usual, this section of the video is just pure speculation. My guess is just as good as yours as to whether these skins will gain or lose price, and of course if you're planning on buying skins to flip them for a profit in the future, I shouldn't be the one giving you advice for it, and of course you'll need to make your own educated decisions. I'm just looking at similar Rust skins, similar sets and things like that to see what they've gone for in the past, if they've gone up and down in price, and we're drawing some very rough conclusions and parallels between them. But yeah, with that being said, let's have a look at SCMM and see some similar skins and make some speculations about where these will go. Alright, so because SCMM's being a bit weird in not updating this week, we'll need to check out how many people have roughly purchased these skins based on the actual workshop itself. So the big toe boots have sold at least almost 6,000 unique times. The Dominus Mortis AK-47 has sold similarly at around 6,000. The tactical Roadsign gloves have sold 7,400-ish times. The Nuke Vibe garage door almost 10,000, which is a huge number. Cryo Furnace 8,000, so this is doing it pretty well. The Bones storage box 3,400, one of the least good selling skins this week. Steel Bandana 3,500, Poncho and Hat have all sold around 3,600-ish times each. Then the Isoparam L96, 8,000, so one of the more popular skins this week. And finally, the No Mercy sheet metal double door has sold 5,200 times. So we can still use SCMM in its outdated but limited state to make some speculations about price. First of all, the sheet metal hat, Poncho, and Bandana. Where exactly will these go? Well, based on looks alone, I personally am not a huge fan of them, and with how well they've sold, or rather how well they haven't sold, the skin doesn't seem to be very popular this week, meaning there'll be fewer items in circulation. So just based on supply and demand, it may be a bit more expensive when time goes on, as not so many have sold, but of course we are within about 24 hours of them releasing. If we have a look at Poncho skins, the dark tire Poncho did relatively well, the reptile hunter as well, but these are of course dark and green skins, meaning there's a tactical advantage to owning them over nothing nothing. A lot of these skins have lost quite a bit of their value, and that does reflect in the median store price and of course how much they've moved off of the original. Most of these end up losing quite a bit of value. The most similar looking skins here for them would probably be the metal set, which lost quite a bit of value, and everything else is a bit too different to draw accurate parallels from. Maybe the chainmail poncho, similar looking metal vibe to it. Again, very difficult to tell. It's not OP with its color system, so I don't see it doing overall too well, and it hasn't reflected in sales. Then if we have a look at the Bones storage box, this new small storage crate, having a look at similar wood storage boxes, the past two we've had were crates, and both of them stayed roughly around the same price. The bamboo cage had a good chance of being more expensive as it was the first of its kind, but of course we haven't seen it too much movement, at least just yet. Based off of how all of these skins have lost quite a bit of value, I don't see things going too well for this anyways. Is this unique enough to break the mold and become more expensive? I personally don't think so, but let me know down below. And of course, it is one of the lesser selling items this week at 3,400 minimum. Then the No Mercy sheet metal double door. This of course is part of the expanding No Mercy set, and some of those skins are doing pretty well. So having a look at the very expansive No Mercy collection, the total cost for this is quite a bit, $560 for everything. But if we have a look inside here, obviously the original kit and gear is selling for quite a bit. However, everything in between, some of the weapons haven't been doing it too well, as they're not completely white out, they're not completely black out. There's nothing too crazy about them. For the most part, the buildables do relatively well. The garage door has sold quite a bit and is going for about double the price that you could purchase it for originally. Is this unique? And will it be different to this sheet metal door here? I'm not too sure, as we have seen a single sheet metal door which has lost a bit of value, and the armor door here as well, which has gone the same way. While this is in looks much closer to the garage door, it's different in functionality in game. Obviously it's not as strong. Is it similar enough to have a similar price expectancy in the future? I'm not sure of. Maybe. If it sells similar to the garage door here, the price will go up, but the set has been a generally hit and miss set, other than, well, the revolver, which, well, crazy things happened there, the jacket, and things like that. Then let's have a look at the Cryo set. This one, the Cryo Furnace, has sold 8,000 times at least. Here are the other items in the Cryo collection. While I didn't think either of these would do too well, both of them have gone up in value, the fridge and the small box. Based off of that alone, this is maybe going to follow the same direction. While it isn't passively emissive like these two here, it's actively emissive when the fire is on. It's still very much in the same SpongeBob Year 3000 type vibe. I'm not a huge fan of, but based off of how these ones did relatively well in the past, this may go the same way. Then the Nuke vibe garage door at 9,000 items has sold really well, at least within the first 24 hours, so there may be a huge number of these in circulation at the end of this week, and it's not related to the Nuke room collection, which we've had the last edition to last week. It's doing its own thing in the world of garage doors, but as you can see, the world of garage doors has been quite red over the past year and beyond. So based off of the fact that pretty much all garage doors have lost a lot of value, this is likely going to follow the same route. Then the Isoparam L96, this pretty looking L96, has sold 8,000 copies this week at least, and it does look like it's not going to slow down in items sold. Are people buying it to use it or flip for a profit? Well, we don't have that many L96 editions each year, and even though we've only had 2 every year for the past 2 years, all of them have lost value, and overall L96s aren't doing too well. The Redemption L96 is a similar shiny red, and of course that flopped, dropping at 37%, much like everything else here. This is likely going to follow the same route, even if it does look a bit more unique or different. Personally, I might pick this up either now or afterwards, just based on how it looks, but beyond that, it's probably not that good of an item to buy if you're expecting it to go up. Then the Roadsign gloves. The Island Assault team do look like they're going to have a good time in the market. Almost all Roadsign glove skins have gone up in value, especially the silvery looking ones, so it's probably going to follow the same way, unless of course it ends up like these unlucky 3 here from 2024, or back here these 2, 2023. 22, these two overall most Roadsign glove skins do gain quite a bit of value. These of course don't look as armored and as shiny as the rest of these, bar maybe the ultramarine gloves here. They're not too armored looking in particular. These are more natural looking gloves, so they're very unique compared to the rest of the things that we've seen here. These are all more reflecting that they're armored in some way or another. Personally, I think these might go places, but nobody can be absolutely sure, and with 7,400 sales, it's done pretty well this week so far. Then the Dominus Mortis AK-47, this beautiful skin over here. Having a look at similar assault rifles that are out there, the Dark Factory new AK, Black Ops AR, a lot of these have sadly lost a lot of their value. And AK skins definitely haven't been doing it too well for the longest time. There's lots of red dating all the way back to even the earliest of AK skins, meaning that, especially because all of the recent ones haven't been doing too well, bar the pay-to-win type skins, as there's not much special about this in terms of pay-to-win, it's probably not going to do too well. Buy it if you like how it looks, otherwise I'd probably say skip it. Finally, the goofiest item this week, the big toe boots. Well, very unique. Having a look at other boots out there, we don't have too many boot skins. There's only 70 in total. The latest two haven't done well last year. Some of them have done pretty well, some of them especially so. But ultimately, it's a hit or miss game. Some of them do really well, other ones don't. For the most part, the green skins do really well, desert skins, things like that. This, on the other hand, is none of these. It's not camouflage in any way, probably most comparable to the rainbow pony boots in that they're just unique and goofy. These didn't do too well from 2021, and I don't see these doing too well on the market overall, but is the goofiness factor enough to carry them all the way through to costing way more in the future? That's hit or miss. Overall, it's sold right in the middle at around 6,000 copies at least. I'll be purchasing them just for the goofiness factor, but as for an investment, I don't think so. But yeah, with that, we've covered all of the skins this week. Obviously, there was a bit of an issue with SCMM. It's been going up and down. It hasn't updated to the latest week, and I've been waiting since yesterday for it to come back up, so hence the delay. Hopefully this comes around and works a bit better next week. If not, well, I'll try and work on something making it a bit more smooth so I can get these videos out faster and a bit better. But yeah, and with that, we've covered pretty much everything. So hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully next week SCMM is working. Otherwise, I'll continue using my workaround that I've had to put together now, as I usually rely quite heavily on SCMM to get these videos done. But yeah, thank you all for watching. My name's been Troubleshoot. Sorry for the delay, and I'll see you all next week. Ciao.